Hi everyone. So this is our last session in this class, and I'd like to take this opportunity to give you some final thoughts about this pretty unique course in the Executive MBA program. So I've taken a pretty unique approach in this course to focus solely on hands-on techniques and their applications while leaving out some of the foundational knowledge such as statistics and mathematical formulation underlying those techniques. But throughout this methodology, you have learned very important data analytics skills that can be applied to your job immediately. In particular, although Excel may not be the ideal platform for big data and data mining, so when people talk about data analytics, Excel may not be the first system to come to mind. But Excel does offer perfectly designed tools for dealing with certain really important business analytic problems. So when you try to discover data relationships, when you try to understand the data distribution, and in particular, when you encounter optimization problems such as scheduling and mixing and product mixing and so on, then Excel actually has the most powerful solutions to those problems. So do pay attention to some of the skills that you picked up from this class, such as pivot table, power pivot, and solver, and so on. And those will help you solve a lot of the business issues and business problems that you would encounter on your job. So after this whole semester of hard work, where do we go from here? So what's next? Well, first of all, I definitely encourage you to use your skills that you've learned as much as you can. So look around you, find the business problems, find the issues that you can work on, and apply and practice those skills. So this will not only maximize your learning and so that you can apply to actual business problem solving, but also that will help keeping the memories fresh so that you will have the skills available to you all the time. It happened to me a few times when I picked up some new skills or new knowledge, and I didn't touch them for a few months. Then when I actually have to use them, then I had to go back and relearn them because I just forgot about them. So you don't want that to happen to you. You want to keep these skills, these very useful skills, in your bag of tricks by keep applying, by keep using them. Well, in addition to maximizing what you've learned, so what can you do if you want to make more advancement in this area? Well, one of the things that you can do is to go back and learn about the foundation of the data analytic knowledge that we skipped in this class. As I mentioned, I took the approach to focusing on the skills and techniques themselves without touching much of the underlying um, mathematics. But a lot of them, a lot of the foundation, um, the foundational knowledge is actually very useful. So for instance, when we do a multiple regression, how do we decide which independent variables to keep? So I did mention in one of the work examples to look at the p-value, so that the very small p-value means that that particular independent variable is significant. But why is that, and how do we really make the determination of what p-value to use? Well, those are in the statistic that I skipped. And if you learn those parts, then that will actually make your understanding of all these techniques deeper and better. So you may want to spend some time going back to statistics, probability distribution, and some of the mathematical manipulation that we avoided in this semester, and those are all covered in the optional chapters in the book. So you can actually go back to the ebooks and then learn some of the foundational knowledge in those chapters that we skipped. The other area that you can advance yourself is on Excel. So we've learned a lot of the new Excel functions and commands and all that, but there are also places where I try to avoid or I only touched at at a very high level. So for instance, DAX, when we talked about the power pivot, I only scratched the surface of DAX, and you can learn a lot more on your own, and that will be a really useful application. And also, I try to avoid array functions altogether. There are other Excel functions that are only touched on, such as index match, offset, indirect, and so on. So those will be very, very useful, although they're a lot more difficult the Excel than the intermediate Excel skills that I hope that you all had before you started this class. But those will be really applicable to some of the more advanced modeling that you may want to build in the future. So just to extending your Excel skills will be a very useful undertaking if you want to advance your knowledge, advance your capability in data analytics area. Finally, um, we've only looked at a very small portion of data analytics. And although, as I said, Excel is a perfect tool for some of that, such as optimization, such as looking at data distribution and so on, but if you want to go into more advanced data analytics areas, then you want to take on more advanced tools such as R, Python, SQL, and so on. You already with the skills that you have, with the knowledge that you learned from this class, with all the practices that you've been through, you're all ready to take on the next step. They will be a lot more difficult than Excel because they are less familiar. Probably most of you have never touched those kind of tools, but you now have the foundation to be able to take the next step and really extend or go into the broader world of business analytics, and that should be a really useful and helpful and worthwhile investment to make for your career long term.